what you see now is that they don't learn anything because of AI. Except, but AI is a knowledge factory, I said to them. So, but our job is to check, are they able to translate the knowledge for themselves?
Welcome to our podcast, The Future of Hospitality. I am your host, Arjen Eikenboom, and today our guest is Marco ten Hoorn. He's the director of the Academy of Leisure, Tourism and Hotel Management, also known as the Hotel School in Stenden, Friesland. So we're going to hear from Marco how he has made major changes to the new way of preparing students for their hospitality journey and why this is so incredibly important. But before I introduce Marco, I have 3 questions for him.
Okay.
There we go. Marco, small boutique hotel or a major chain you're familiar with?
Small boutique.
All right. We're going to hear later on maybe why. Early check-in or late check-out?
Late check-out.
Late check-out. And AI, is it helpful? Yes or no?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Marco, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Right. We warmed up a little bit. So what I want to ask you is, who's Marco? Where are you from? And I already introduced you a little bit, but tell me a little bit more about yourself.
My name is Marco. I'm the Academy Director of the Hotel Management School in Leeuwarden, NHL Stenden, for 8 years now. I'm from a hospitality family, I'm the 5th generation. And I'm also extremely proud because my daughter just graduated as a hotel management school.
So 6 generations in hospitality now.
Coming up, yeah. She's now going for her master's first. And my wife also worked in the industry, and we met each other in the industry. So it's a bit of a way of life, I think. Yeah.
Okay, let's dive deep into that right away. Yeah. 6th generation. Which was the first one?
My great-great-great-grandparents, they started, and that's the story from my parents. So I never met them, but they started with, and that's how you call it in the Netherlands. It's a kosthuis. So it's like
a boarding house.
A boarding house, yeah. So they were workers, and they lived there from Monday to Friday, and then during the weekends they went home, and then my grandparents or great-grandparents, they had a large house with 8 or 10 rooms, I believe, and then the people were sleeping there and eating in the kitchen, and that's how it started. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And
then
because I know my great-grandparents, so because they all got the age of more than 90 years old. And that was the first hotel we actually had. And that was a small hotel in Nijmegen in the Netherlands, the Waal Hotel. And I still had pictures of that. And then you see, the staff with the white aprons and the chefs with really the big hats. And then my grandparents started to work. They had a few companies, and that was basically the most of the time when I was in my younger years. And I don't think it's good if you tell it now, but I spent in the pub of my grandparents.
All right.
Yeah, I loved it over there. Yeah. So, and my mom always said he's not allowed to be at the front of the in the bar, but I always, when my parents were away, my grandfathers always said, just come, and started to tap some draft beers and things like that. So, and my grandmother was always in the kitchen. And the funny thing I always remember is the big pot with meatballs, on a little light, and then because there was always meatballs in the bar. It's unbelievable, but
yeah. It's my old school way. I do remember the days indeed, because I started off just as early. I think we talked about it before, but indeed, that was a thing back in the days, having meatballs in your bar and with mustard, big meatballs with mustard.
Yeah, and there were all little. How do you say that in English? people were paying once per month. So there were all little cards when you put on how many drinks they had, and then at the end of the
Okay, the
month,
tab. They kept a tab for a
yeah,
month.
yeah,
That was the
and
thing at the day. You could not even have a tab for 5 minutes here. You need to pay up front almost.
no, at that time, because when there was a payment day, it was like the salary day, and then they all came to the bar, I remember, and they handed over the debts they had with my grandparents.
Incredible. So hospitality is in your genes, in your blood. I mean, you cannot deny it. That's what it is. Your daughter just graduated. She is following the footsteps of her ancestors. So let me tell you, you started early, as we just discussed. And so it didn't scare you away. You went to the hotel school yourself. Can you tell me a little bit about that step and how you moved on from there into the hospitality industry?
Yeah, I always had to work with my parents. My parents were always working. They had hotels and restaurants, and so when I was 10, 12, I already started to do the dishwashing and the stewarding at that time. And I was not allowed to be the son of the boss. I was one of the staff members. So then you have to work extra. I always said to my parents.
Yeah.
That's how it started. But to be honest, I was planning to study history because I was a bit fed up with it, I think, because all the family only could talk about hospitality and then about the business.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
But and then my father always said to me, "Yeah, we will learn how the business runs. We will learn you everything." And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. So I said I want to study, and then with a little pressure of my parents, they said to me, you go to a vocational school first, so the Middelbare Hotel Management School. And I thought, okay, and at that time you listen to your parents. And I did. And that was the best decision they made for me at that time, yeah. I had a great...
So what made it feel, because I want to learn, you wanted to study history.
Yeah.
They sent you to hotel school anyway, and that completely turned you around into their footsteps. Can you tell me a little bit what made you do that? What was it?
Yeah, because I really don't know. To be honest, I was thinking about it a lot. Why? Because I really... people tell you a lot, and that was what I love about history. The history when people tell their experience and things like that. And I always find it a shame that my daughter don't like history, because I always tell her history tells you a lot about the future.
Yeah.
And then what you see in our industry is that people tell you a lot. It's you're the best friend for 5 minutes, I think. And sometimes they give you information you don't want to know. You just think, you don't have to tell me that. But anyway, and if you have really, and then I saw you can really make a difference. And it's not about the serving but really it was about the connection with people at that time. And why they visit you, they all have reasons. And sometimes it can be a really cheerful reason, but it can also be a sad reason that they have to be at your restaurant or hotel. So, that's what I really like, the variety and the diversity of the people and to serve. I love to serve. I see myself also
for the good cause. Good
cause, and I see myself always as a servant leader.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like how you say that. Yeah. Back in the days, there were only a few hotel schools.
Yeah.
And
you had 3. Hotel School The Hague in the Netherlands was the oldest one and the first hotel school of the Netherlands. And then you had Hotel School Maastricht. And Leeuwarden just started. So that was in 1987, 88. Then they started the Hotel Management School program because the Netherlands, the government said there is room for one more school, and the Hotel School The Hague is a public school. And the Maastricht is Catholic, and the foundation of Leeuwarden was Christian. So the Christian school. And that's why we got that time the school got a license to become a hotel management school. So, but we were the underdog of the schools, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, tell me why.
Because we live of the hotel management, and that's still the experience I have. It's a quite traditional and classic approach, a classic way. And what you saw, the foundation of the Hotel Management School in Leeuwarden was that we want to do it differently. So at that time, they were the first one who started with problem-based learning and case-based learning, and then also took over. And they are very down to earth and just watch and see what's going on and then act on it. So I always say we can be more proud of what we do and what we did in Leeuwarden. But so you saw the difference, and you saw the hotel school, The Hague. It's very business-like. It's very, you become a general manager, and I think that's not the purpose to be in hospitality, to become a general manager.
Right.
And in Maastricht, there's very gastronomy, the gastronomy of food and beverage. And Leeuwarden was always about innovation and do it differently. Yeah.
Okay, that's
that
good.
was the foundation how they started in 87, 88. Yeah.
Right, we dive into that in a minute because I really want to know how it goes nowadays, what the difference is between then and now. But when you when you studied at the hotel school, you did some internships as well yourself?
Yeah.
Can you tell
I
me
did my internship in London, started as a Scandinavian Crown Hotel in London, Euston, and during my internship, it became an independent hotel, Euston Plaza, because the investor got some troubles probably with Scandic, and then immediately later on we became Hilton. So it was really huge for me, a huge mind shift. How quick that goes when you were 19 to 20 years old, and then you think, "My God, what's going on?" Because
right.
I was learned, the foundation was by the family. It was all about managed by that. And then, then it was this, then it was that. So it was for me, really eye-opening how the industry, especially the hotel world, works. Yeah. And apparently not a lot has changed, to be honest.
No, indeed. The hospitality industry is, the way you provide hospitality is, of course, still the same, but it's taught differently now, and we're going to talk about that. Yeah. So why did you move into education and you want to change how it's taught? Why is that? Why was that?
Yeah, it was because I worked in hotels, and I also became a general manager of hotel, and then I started to work for an agency as interim manager. So when there were troubleshoots or things like that with a huge task. And then I was always in contact with my old school. And then the board of directors at that time called me and they said, "Do you want to do an assignment for us?" And I said, "Oh yeah, that's fine. I will do it." Yeah, I always did all kinds of projects, and I thought, education could be nice. And so that's how it started. And that was in 2004. And
why did they call you to do that?
I don't know. To be honest, I really don't. I never asked them, to be honest. No.
Oh my gosh, you should have. I want to know why.
Because it was about the network. Because they maybe my parents, I don't know. And I was like, "Oh yeah, but you can do this, you can do that, and don't look differently. And why is it still like that? Because we did that 30 years ago." And so maybe that triggered them to say, "Okay, would you like to set up our learning companies for the students?" And I said, "Oh yeah, that's nice," because I saw the traditional way of practice in the hotel management school. I said, "But you have to change that in the real world, because this is not the real world what you're teaching."
So you thought there was something missing from okay. Yeah. I want to know a bit. What was the number one thing that was missing in your opinion?
Connection with the outside world.
Very important. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. That was missing, really. Yeah.
Yeah, because we were still traditional. This is the kitchen, and then you book, and people that book the table, and you cook 4-course meal for them, and you were 2 students who were serving, and it was like how it always was, and all the hotel schools did the same. And I said, no, if you want to make a difference and connection with the industry, you have to make a real company of it, with loss and profit and everything related to that. And that's a huge challenge to do that, because you're a part of an education system founded by the government, and how can you do commercial activities?
How can you make it a bit more flexible so it fits into the industry that way it should, without giving up your the guide rails,
the coaching, and it were all practical instructors, and they worked in the industry, but they never went back to the industry. So they worked for a couple of years in the industry, and they were teaching how it was now at that time. But said, listen, guys, the industry has changed, so you have to adapt. You have to change, otherwise it's not working. But that took me a while. So I started to do the assignments for 2 years, and then I stayed for 8 years. So I started.
Okay, so what made it successful? So you made a change. I really want to understand. So they called you, and you agreed, yes, we need to make some changes. You made some changes. You did that for 2 years. The connection, you mentioned the connection is very important, which I fully agree with. And I already see a bridge that we can build to the modern way, the new age of education, because the newer generation, that's my personal experience, are more or less a little bit more detached from connection. If you know, and that's not their fault. I mean, that is probably social media, probably online, being online all the time. So, Marco, in your words, you made that change 2 years later, and you stayed for 8 years. What changes? Can you name 1, 2, or 3 changes?
Yeah. The change was that we were because I don't know the English word of that, but it was in a stichting.
Association.
Okay, and we went to a commercial company, so we changed it in holding. So that was first. Okay, so on paper, the governance, good governance, everything was organized, and then I let the industry coming in and telling them how the industry works. So it's a 24/7 business. It's not from Monday morning, 7:00 to Friday, and then you close. If you have a hotel, if you have a catering, restaurant, and everything, it's 24/7 business. So I also changed the employment agreements. And it was a long journey before you can change that in the Netherlands. But I said, no, we need to change that, because otherwise you don't give the real education that's needed for the industry, because we are like a simulation program for the real world, about the real world. So do we have to do this? And then what I did is bring in visiting chefs, bring in other people about the systems, hotels, and started to make, for my network I had, started to make agreements with them that they came to us all the time and tell them what was going on in the industry. And so step by step, we changed that. And then you also have to prove that you have education quality, that you're not just a company making money on behalf of students or things like that. So, and believe me, my staff costs were so high, because you don't have one head chef, you had 5 head chefs. Because they all do shifts on their own. It's totally different.
True.
Then I started, we also had like a meeting and events office, and I said 75% of our events that we organize should come from the outside of the school and not inside. So we started to organize events for companies, but they should embrace students, because you also should tell them, okay, we slightly cheaper, but we can also make mistakes. The students are allowed to make mistakes.
Of course,
And
that's how you learn.
if you sell it like they are part of the education of the future, they embrace it. They love it. If you in a restaurant and you drop wine on somebody's clothes and it gets closed, oh, you have all kinds of problems. And what are you going to do? And you have to solve it, and you have to offer everything. But if guests knows you're a part of their education, they react totally different.
Interesting.
You're still learning. Don't mind. It's okay.
Right.
And then, of course, we still paid for the dry cleaning and everything, because we told them, the students, of course, how are you going to solve this? Eh? It's not that you make the mistake, but that's how.
But the more important is how are you going to solve it?
Yeah, and that was
totally.
And I always remember my grandfather always said that. It's not about the problem; it's about the solution. that's what you. So how are you going to solve it, and how is your team going to react on you when you make the mistake?
So you really helped students this way by developing their operational skills early on. I like that.
I call it always the soft skills. Much more than soft skills.
Soft skills, soft skills.
Developments on that.
What are hard skills?
Yeah, that's the knowledge and everything. How you do that, but the communication and in connection with people, and true connection and real connection. That's the soft skills. Yeah.
Right.
And now I call it hostmanship, but at that time I said it's soft skills. We have to develop soft skills. It's all about soft skills. Yeah. So
instead of classrooms, if I can put it that way, you brought entrepreneurship into practice.
Yes.
So how did people respond to that? I mean, students, other teachers, the school, the board.
They were quite open for it. That was good. It's good to see. Only your competition, your colleague hotels, they thought, wait a minute. You are going to the market. And I said, don't forget, you also need them later on. So you want them to be prepared. And I always, with the learning companies, I was always open and transparent about what we did and how the figures look like. Because I'm not here to make money. I'm here to make sure that we have well-educated future leaders in hospitality.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, because what I remember is indeed. Also, I used to work for a moment in my career at a bank, and I had quite a few colleagues that came from the hotel school, and that's what the reason was. I found out later is because they were very business oriented.
Yeah.
So how do you combine that? Because that is a really good thing. I mean, that turns me into a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, I know, but the combination that came later, to be honest, because I only was responsible at that time for the practical education, so for the skills and the soft skills and everything. And that was my only job, and I was not academic involved at all about academic programs and scheduling and research and things like that. So I just did what I did, I said, and that's what. And I said the industry of the practice should be fun. They should enjoy it, because that's when they go on their internship, they're completely prepared to run or to do what they have to do. And so I was not involved with the whole academic program. That was still, later on. The only task I had was make sure practical education was in order and future-proof. So that's what I did. And then after, when I got the distinctive feature on real-world learning, and we're the only hotel management school on real-world learning. So that
real-world learning.
Yeah, that means that that what they do is real. It's not like just a simulation or whatever. And the industry, there's a strong connection with the industry and everything what we apply. So, so when I achieved that, and I thought after, that was in 2011, not 10, and then 11, I thought, I need to move on because now it's enough. I was planning to do this 2 years, but I really loved it. I loved the students. I loved the industry. I thought it's time to go, because how in education in the Netherlands, every 4 years you get a new board of directors, and I thought, no, I'm done with that. I'm leaving. And then the opportunity came for Hotel School The Hague. Because they saw what's going on in Leeuwarden, and I thought, okay, we also need a little change on that one. And but I underestimate, it's a totally different school. Of course, we all have the same degree, but then what I really learned is culture also matters, and foundation, and so that's and they really love to be the classic traditional business school. And I thought, okay, yeah, after 3 years, this is not my cup of tea. But I learned a lot, because that was my way to learn, because they didn't have the separation of practical in a different business environment. So I learned a lot about the academic program. And then at that time, they had an academic dean from Cornell, Peter Stenden, never forget him. And then I saw, okay, this is how the academic world works. You need research, you need foundations, you need all those before you can make a change, and then it takes another 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So okay, this is what it is, and and then I started in 2017. I went back to Leeuwarden because they asked me. I think we need to go to a new direction with the hotel school, but also on the academic level. And then
all those years have paid off. They saw it.
Yeah.
I mean, just like you said, it takes a few years.
Yeah.
I mean, there was visibility. There was clearly something that worked in your approach.
Yeah, and I was the first director of a hotel management school who worked in the industry. Also went to the hotel management school, and I have my master's degree and everything. But they really couldn't understand that they make me the director of the biggest hotel school in Europe. With no research background, no academic background, and yeah.
But you did. They hired you, and that was only 2 years before COVID-19.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how you handled that, because that was the biggest challenge for all schools around the world. Yeah. And you have implemented a new way of education, of new ways. So let's pick up from that moment, because students were...
Yeah, so because when I really got an assignment from my board of directors, and they said, really, the new age of education, what would you like? What's your vision? And that took me 1.5 years also to prepare everything. And then in 2020, in January, so I presented in 2019 the whole plan, the game changes in hospitality and beyond, the new way of education. And we will start in 2020. In February 2020, we started with the first intake, and that was around 150 students. And then we added up in September 900 students, and then in that year also in 2020-21 the rest of the students, and that was around 1,500. So in total I had to change everything in 2 years in 3,000 students in the new program. So I started, and if you can't sell it internal, you can't sell it external. So with a huge campaign, everything preparing, everything. It was all smart. I arranged a new board of an advisory board around me with people from the industry. And we started 2020, and there was still resilience. There was still, it's not going to work. We're not going to do that. How is it? Oh no. What's the research background? How is the academic?
Lots of questions.
Yeah, but we started, and then March had to close the school.
Yeah,
And to be honest, the funniest part the good part was that I already started that we are going to do blended learning. So I already changed in 2019 all the staff with laptops and not with a desk anymore and an office. So I changed the whole building and open workspaces and things like that. So everybody already had a laptop and everything. And then I saw, and we were preparing a lot. And so we had a lockdown on Thursday evening. And I called my team, my management team. I said, please come to school, all of you. Yeah, we come. And I said, Monday we're online. And they looked at me. I said, Monday we are online.
Okay.
Yeah. And a friend of mine got an online marketing company, and with also some studios, and said, we are going to be in the studios. We have to be online and we have to reach the students and make sure that all the teachers are in contact with their student. And we just did it. And I said, the only purpose now is be online and in contact with each other. That's all about that. But and the good part was also that never waste a good crisis. Because nobody knew what to do. And they all thought it would take 2-3 weeks. It took us 2 years. So nobody knew. So there was no research behind it. There was nothing. So I thought, this is my moment.
This was, and your vision. And I mean, they gave you they gave you carte blanche to go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Be in contact with your students. Be in contact with, and there were nobody knew what to do. How education online? Come on! If you see the first online classes, it was unbelievable, and not only us. And if one education is going to tell me that the quality was still the same,
it wasn't.
It wasn't.
How fast did you change? How fast were you able to get to the old level, to the level that you were supposed to be? How
because
quickly?
Because of COVID?
Yeah, during that moment.
Yeah, it took me 3 weeks to be online.
Oh, that's quick.
No, to be online. That's and we had to bring back, because I had 1,500 students all over the world, and to bring back them to their home or to the Netherlands or back to where they originally come from. But to be online 3 weeks, the whole change took me 2 years. Of the whole other education.
That's quite an impactful change.
And normally it will take you 4 to 5 years. Yeah. So it took me 2 years.
And then the COVID crisis ended, but you implemented all these changes. Did you maintain that way of operating?
Yeah, first of all, I make sure that the community was coming back to the schools, because what you saw is that students also learn from each other. So because if you are not well dressed, you're not well dressed, make sure that you prepare yourself. So what you saw, the hotel school was always one live, bubbling environment, but everybody loves to be at school, and now they didn't like to be at school because now I can stay home. Why can I not follow it online anymore? And that's what I changed immediately. We're not going to be online for the coming year. Make sure they come back to school. We need to meet face to face. And of course, there were certain circumstances we did some online, but basically make sure there is connection with each other. Face-to-face connection, and celebrate every time that you school. So I opened a coffee bar in the school. I did everything to make sure that they came back to school. And it took me a year. Yeah, because in 2020 we came back, and in 2023 I said the start of the academic year in 2023, that was the first year I had the old feeling of the hotel school back. With the study start week, the onboarding program, everything related to that. Yeah.
So, oh my God! So that is a change on your side, but also on the students, of course. So,
Yeah.
I want to know from you, because they are digital native, the students of today. You make them come to school right after COVID, which I think is a very smart thing to do. But how do digital native students learn differently from previous generations? Because you said earlier there is a big gap between those, between the old way and the new way, the new age.
Yeah.
So how do they learn, the digital native students of today learn differently from previous generations?
That's they have to see examples. They have to see what's going on, and they need to know that if you can, there is the screen can still be a certain distance. There's a certain distance. So if we are sitting at the same table, then you see also the body language. You see also the way, if you don't feel comfortable, you see also where they focus on other things, or how they walk in, or how they walk out. And so what we said was, first of all, we have to make sure that they have the hospitality feeling. And all the staff, all the teachers, and everybody was on board on that. We need to bring back the old hospitality feeling in the school. Of course, we have the new age of education, everything, but still, the hostmanship, that's what we implemented at that time. Hostmanship, it's all about that. Make sure that people feel welcome. And if they feel welcome at the school, so I did that to the staff and to the teachers and everybody, and my MT did that. And then it starts also with the onboarding weeks, the welcoming weeks, and things like that. And okay, you're a part of the community, and repeat it. And I did every month a message to the students. So during COVID time, I did a digital message and make a little video and a newsletter for that. But in the beginning, I noticed they didn't read it. They didn't do it. And they say, oh, you didn't read it. Oh, so then you don't know. Then you need, also, you can be, they are digital natives, but they're also selective in what they want to see.
Because there's so much information coming their way. I mean, our way, there's so much information. So you said they're very selective. And how do they select what's important and what not? Because
that's what we learn. So
that's what you teach them.
Yeah, that's what we teach them, and that's what because when they start our program, first they have to that we do a map style. That's the world of differences. It's a little bit. You can compare it with DISC. Okay, what kind of color are you? What are your competences? What's in your backpack? What can you learn from others? And that's what they still have to do every. Group's assignment. They have to do what is your profile, and learn from each other. So to recognize if you're very blue, okay, now you have to take a red role. So you have to be more proactive instead of and that's what we try to learn, and that's what build up during the years, and then that's also how they do it in practice. Because now at that time during COVID, you couldn't do practice.
No, there was nothing
but
open.
We still did wine tasting online.
Okay.
So what I did with my wine lectures, we delivered mini bottles of wine and glasses.
The one you get in the airplane. I mean, on board of an aircraft.
And then a bit better quality. But this is how you try. And then we had an online wine tasting with 100 students. We did... online wine tasting with the students. I really like so
this
they
part.
all had. So you were at home, and then you had to show them that you had your glasses, and you have to fill it in. So we did just it sounds silly, but it was making connection.
I like it.
And what we also did was a bakery competition online. So we sent them. Okay, these are the ingredients, and just bake for your family a pie or a cake or whatever. and then you have to show us the proof. That's what we did. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
you're really innovative. I can see now why they hire you. I mean, you're like 2-3 steps ahead of the rest, and you try to be innovative to get to the result.
Yeah, but you also have to convince. Don't forget, I have academic staff that they were my teachers. Yeah, so it was. So sometimes sometimes it was challenging. Yeah, and I said everything out of the box. So
Out of the box.
Out of the box, just do it. And
tell me, Marco, I want to know what, knowing all this and where we are now, I want to know a few little things. What role should you think the hospitality industry play today in education?
They should be aware of they are a huge part of the education. We are not the only one who educate the future. They also a part in the hotel management schools. They are part of the education. So, I was really, really disappointed in my industry at COVID because the graduation phase is in the company. That's our program. You graduate, you research your thesis, you do that during your internship in the company and in your internship company. And it was March, and they sent all the students home and come back later on. And that was in the final part also when you're year 4, you graduate in June. So they only had 2-3 months to go. And I thought, what? You're not even able to help them? And don't forget, the smaller companies did, but the largest companies, I can name all the brands, they just sent them home.
Okay, let's not do that, but you made your point. Yeah.
And they sent them home. And don't forget what the damage was after that to get back the students, other new students, the new students, to do internships there.
Right.
Because they underestimate how students are in contact with each other, how the community is in contact with each other. So if you had a bad experience in your internship company, I can tell you, it can happen once, but when it happens twice, then no students will go. So you see, that's what you see.
Okay, so what can we learn from this?
That they also a part of the education, that they're also a part of the development of those students, and don't see them as cheap labor and just do what we do, what we say.
That still happens. I mean, I spoke to a few general managers over the past quite a few, for this podcast, and I'm really glad to see that there is an increase of. Yes, you can see the change. They're opening their hearts. They're new way of thinking. Okay, I need to approach these people in a different way. Because you're not the first one who said we have really a complete new generation that needs to be handled in a totally different way. Yeah. And you more or less, you paved the way for that change way before COVID happened, and way before this generation appeared, and way before AI entered the room, because that's only recently, and we still are learning to grasp with AI how to use it. Can you tell me a little bit about how you? I mean, we were laughing about it. You can barely write AI, but. But tell me, tell me, you said it yourself. Tell me how do you work with this? With all these fast changes.
Yeah, because what I also if you compare it with education in the academic world, they are all against AI. So what I said I started 1.5 years ago with the opening of the academic year. So there were 600 students in the classroom, and I said to them, "Who of you have an AI account?" And then only 5 or 6 said, "You are the smart student. You know how it works." But
Oh my
my
gosh.
academic staff didn't like that. I said, listen, guys, it's not going to disappear. And don't start, um, because what you see now is that they don't learn anything because of AI. I said, but AI is a knowledge factory, I said to them. So, but our job is to check, are they able to translate the knowledge for themselves? And even if they
Yeah.
use AI, in the past, I make copies of books because I had to read the Pauli, I had to read this, and I had to read that, and then I have to make a report of it. And now we ask AI, what are the newest, latest systems of revenue management, for example? Or could you come up with a strategy or whatever? But it's not about the knowledge. If they copy it one-on-one, then you have to challenge them. Do you think for yourself? And how did you get to that knowledge? That's what we call pragmatic testing. So because you can't, and then you make it more sustainable for the knowledge they gain, then instead of you don't get any points because you got AI. I don't think we shouldn't give any points to assignments because that's ridiculous, because you are an 8 and you are a 6 based on personal opinions. I don't know. So and now I overestimate, but AI is a tool, and we need to use the tool. And I told you, I'm just writing my graduation speech because I have a graduation coming up in October, and then I always start on time. So I said, I did some prompts and gave it to AI. Could you write me a graduation speech? These were my speeches in the past. I want to have a metaphor. I want to do this. I want to do that. And they came up with a quite nice clinic speech. And then I said, no, that's not me. But it gave me some guidelines to work on.
Yeah, you can mold with it. It gives you.
Yeah, you
that
can
is
mold
what
it.
AI. Yeah.
And yeah, so we can say what we want, but don't forget, we have less staff. There's less staff available. We are an industry where the connection is most important when you come into the hotel or the restaurant or any hospitality business. So we need tools to make our other tasks quicker. And to still to do the hospitality or hospitable behavior or the hostmanship, or how you call it. And knowledge is available. Knowledge is everywhere available. And in the past, knowledge was only the teacher had the knowledge. He was sending the information, and he asked questions at his assignments about the information. He sent it.
That's what. There was only one channel, and now there are multiple channels where one can get their information from, and
so they learn from, because learning is about from industry, from lunch. They learn from the peers. They learn from the academic stuff. It's multiple, and it's not just one way. So that's why I said industry. You're so important because they learn from you. I can't tell them how it feels when a guest walk over a 5-star property and that you have to be this or that. My daughter did 1 year internship at the Hyatt and in a 5-star. And she said, oh, I learned so much of the wings of no. I thought, what is that? The wing, explain to me, what is that? We never say no. So if a guest asks something and you don't have it, you don't say, no, we don't have it. No, we say, oh, unfortunately, we can organize this or that for you, whatever. So they all learn things about not to say, you don't say no.
No. Yeah.
So the wings of, and that's the same with the married, staff happy, guest happy, and things like that. We as educators can't teach that.
No, they need to learn that in practice. So let me.
So practice the industry have to go inside more of the program, and that's what we do now with the new age of education.
All right. Well, I fully agree. I would love to see how we can make that happen, because they need to be more involved. the real world industry, the real world hospitality. Well, I've told you, but this is like building a bridge to what we're going to launch after the summer vacation. There, the roundtable podcasts with hospitality students from different schools and real world hospitality hotels to be part of that, so we can discuss stuff like this. So I already mentioned that, so I'll be happy to invite you to work with us to get that off the ground. All we need is indeed a few hospitality hotel school students. Pick a few subjects, and I would love to have these conversations, these discussions with industry leaders and the upcoming industry leaders from the hotel schools. And you play a very important part in that. I think I'm looking forward to that. One last chance before I will close this. We can talk for hours. That's what I feel. What excites you the most about the next generation of hospitality leaders? So the students that you have.
What excites me the most is that what I see at my students, the students I have, is that they are eager, they hunger, and they embrace hospitality. So, and that's what I also, and that's because of the hospitality industry is coming to the school and be in contact with the students. So they and maybe that's I'm lucky with the network that a few of good friends of mine they really helped me to make it successful. So they said, okay, we're going to help you, and I really thank them every day for what they did. But this is the idea I have, and I said, okay, we will help you, and I'm happy that everybody's on board now, and that we had our accreditation, we had all the excellence and the distinctive features and everything. But that's not the way, why I did it. I have to do that because of the government, but I did it because of the generation is really, really eager. And my daughter, she started in 2020 at the Hotel Management School. And she said at that time, I'm not going to work in hotels. I just do it because you can do it. And I said, okay. And that's what I, in 2020, did here, and 22 also did hear a lot from students. Yeah, we can do much more with Hotel Management School than other education because the banking, they all love us. Yes, I know, and that's true. Yeah. But they love you when you have the foundation of the hospitality industry, and then you know how it is to work in there. And what I see now with my daughters and all her friends, they all worked in the industry. They love it. They embraced it. It opened their minds. And you really see the change. And that's because of the industry. The industry helped me with that. To be involved with the school, to be in the school. Because from each partner, I asked them, if you have a design challenge for my students, you have to be available 1 or 2 hours per week. And during Corona time, that were easy. They had enough time, and but now you see, okay, it's paying off. So I'm very proud of the industry.
It sounds to me that we get a new generation of hospitality leaders that work way more with their soft skills than with their hard skills. And that is, yes, I'm really glad to hear.
And don't forget, they have more in the backpack than we had at that time.
That's also a good reminder.
Yeah, they have much more in the backpack than we had at that time. Because when I did my internship, I had to start with the stewarding the first 2 weeks or whatever. And now they also said, listen, this is the knowledge I have, but this is what I want to develop, and this is what I want to do. Can you help me? Are we a match, yes or no? And it's not only about salary or whatever. It's really about the match. And company pride. They love company pride. Yeah.
Wonderful. Marco, like I said, we can talk for hours. We should have a part 2, but again, we're going to do the roundtables with students after the summer vacation. So, Marco, thank you so much for being on our show. It was really insightful. There is so much more that we can learn, but thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. It was an honor. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.